Hi, I'm Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Change is hard for you, for me, for everyone, or almost everyone. Change is just one of those things that we are internally resistant to quite often, even when we think the change is going to help us, etc. And so I want to share with you some language that I use, especially when I'm working with my clients, to help us to change faster. And it is the language of experimentation over the language of change, because you know what, we're often trying to get other people to change. We're trying to elicit change within organizations, in communication and relationship with other people. And so this concept of thinking about change in the view of experimentation instead of change can be really, really helpful. And here's why. Almost everyone, as we said, is resistant to change, but nobody wants to be the jerk who's unwilling to experiment with something. And so we can often make little micro adjustments towards change that are going to be much easier for other people to take in and to get on board with and to buy into if we use this language of experimentation. So what are a few situations? How does this maybe show up? I'm going to give you one that happens all the time. So many people come to me with this conundrum. And the conundrum is this. I have this meeting on my schedule. It just like does not work with everything else going on. It's not at a good time for me, or whatever, for whatever reason, this is a bad time to have a meeting. Maybe it's the sole meeting that you've got on your no meeting day. And I want to change it. I wish I could change it, but I don't. I can't. I don't have control over it. I'm not the person who set it up. There are like 10 other people in this meeting. I can't do anything about it. And so I always say, let's see if we can experiment. Because you're right. You don't want to go in and say, like, no, for me and my schedule, this meeting would be really better if it happened on Thursdays at 2. Let's change it to that. Like, that doesn't come across very good. It doesn't sound collaborative, right? But instead, if you could say to a group, hey, everyone, I would be wondering if folks are willing to experiment with changing this meeting to Thursdays at 2 p.m. If we do that, we could try it maybe for a couple of weeks and just see if that works for everyone better than this current time that it is. If it doesn't, no worries, we go back to where it was, or maybe we find a new time that works better for others. Would you all be willing to experiment with that, to try that out? Now, most people are going to say yes. Like, it's a short-term thing. We're just going to see if it actually is better. Inherent in an experiment is that we're going to evaluate it to actually decide if the change is worth it, right? And so people are much more open to this. It also doesn't feel permanent because it isn't, right? We're experimenting, we're iterating. So when you use language of change, it feels permanent. People are resistant. They don't want to do it. When you use the language of experimentation, people become much more open to it. And experimentation is also good to use with ourselves, right? Because oftentimes we're trying changes, we're trying new practices, and we might give up on them if they don't work immediately. But if we can instead experiment with something, really evaluate how well it's working or not, then we can constantly iterate for continual improvement. So give this a try. The next time you are encountering some situation where you want to change or you need it to change or whatever it is, try using the language of experimentation over the language of change. And if this has worked for you in the past or you've seen other people do this, drop a note in the comments. I would love to know how you've seen this work for you. And if you haven't used it before and you're just wanting to try it out, go ahead and drop a comment as well and let me know that you're going to try this technique out.
Hey, just want to remind you to like and subscribe. As you can see, only 11.4% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So it help us out, help the channel out a lot if you just subscribe.